In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. Good to be together this morning. This week I was captured by this word welcome over and over again in this morning's gospel reading from Matthew. Welcome, 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 welcome. And the more I thought about it, and the reason I got excited about this text is because I realized that what I think God's communicating here to us today is foundational to what you and I have been about at Christ Church over the past 10 years or more. This has been, in fact, it was in this text this week as I was reflecting on this text that I really got in touch with what I think has been our overarching vision for Christ Church over the past decade, and really even longer than that, maybe even 15, 16 years. This idea of really passionate welcome. I realize as I talk about this morning that maybe your experience has not been so welcoming. And I hope that it has. But if not, then that's something that we need to hear, because for me it is everything. It is perhaps our most important witness. Because the more I thought about it, I realized that as disciples of Christ, as disciples of Jesus, we who study His life, who spend time in His life, we are constantly exposed to a life where He was, His first order of business, it seems, was always about welcoming the other. In fact, words like welcome and compassion, the word compassion, we talked about His compassion last week. At almost every turn in the Gospels, there's that word compassion. Jesus was willing to suffer with the people that were around Him, the people that were struggling with life. He didn't just suffer with them. He entered into their stories. He invited them to come close and to be a part of His life. And they were able to hear the good news of His life because He first welcomed them in. And He didn't make them pass any test. They didn't have to pass a test to come close. They didn't have to have the creed memorized. They didn't need to have all the right answers to every theological question. They didn't have to agree with everybody in the church. Gosh, my experience is that people in the church disagree about everything. That's been my experience over the past 16 years here, is that we don't disagree about everything. I'm exaggerating to make a point. We disagree about a lot of things. We don't find community based on agreement. Jesus is leaving this world, His last prayer to the Father is, may they figure out how to be one. May they be one. And it's not may they agree. Jesus spent enough time with those disciples to know that we weren't going to agree on everything. And so, what really are our marching orders? It's not necessarily to build consensus about any one thing. I think our marching orders are wrapped up in this gospel lesson. Jesus said, may they be one. May they work at relationship with each other. This morning we hear Him saying, it's all about a spirit of welcoming, a welcoming spirit that makes even the most extreme stranger in your mind or experience to feel at home, to feel like he or she belongs in your life or in our church experience here. Welcome, Jesus says. Maybe that's the first thing that you and I should be about, is being a welcoming spirit. I came across an article this past week. It was written by a woman named Jean Vanier. And she really defined welcoming in a way that I thought was beautiful. Especially as I was reflecting on this text and I was thinking about our life here and what we try to communicate not just in worship, but also in all of our formational offerings, and especially in our forums, the forums I host every week. I felt like she was tapping into something that we talk a lot about here. And she writes that, she says that welcoming is not about what you do when someone crosses the threshold to your home or to your church or as they step into your life. Welcoming, she says, is an attitude. I love that. Isn't that great? Welcoming is an attitude. It's a disposition. It's a way of life. It's a way that you choose to. It's a way that you choose to be alive in the world. She says welcoming is about approaching life and the world and others always with an open heart, she says. With an open heart. Grab my cheat sheet. What does she say? She says it's an attitude. It is the constant openness of the heart. It is saying to people every moment and in every moment of the every morning and every moment of the day, every encounter that you have, it's the Spirit of Jesus. It's our most important work. In every breath of every day, it says, come in. Come on in. Come closer. Come closer. She goes on to say it is giving them space. It is giving the people around us space. It is listening to them attentively. And this has always been important to me. I don't know if I do it very well, but I think that being a disciple of Christ and practicing this spirit of welcome, and not just practicing it, but living it out onto the world in a way that makes others feel like they can come in and feel safe and belong, it means that you have to spend less time talking and more time listening. We talk too much. We want everybody to know what we think. We want the preacher sometimes to get up there and tell us what to think. Give us the answers. Just cut to the chase. Tell us what to think. Just give us the short of it. What Jean Vanier says is that to practice welcoming is to create a safe place where people feel like they are being listened to. They're invited to come and engage and feel a sense of belonging. They then are able to join a community where they can join a conversation where together we tap into the truth, that greater truth, you see? Isn't that wonderful? I was thinking about some experiences I've had in the forum in recent months. In the forums that we host, whether on Wednesday morning or Sunday morning, we always have these. What I love about the forum is that we learn that we disagree about much in life. And I'll say something I've said to you before, just so you hear me say it. Why is it that husbands and wives disagree about so much in their homes, and they hold the line, they stay together, and yet you come to church and you expect everybody to agree on everything? Why is that? Why is that? You see, the goal isn't agreement. Christian community is not necessarily, it is. There is a gospel that communicates absolutes to us. We are invited. We are a creedal people. We make a confession of faith each week about what we believe and what we stand for. But Jesus didn't lead with that. He led with love. He said, come close and you'll get the other stuff. You'll figure all the other stuff out in time and in your way, with God's help and with the help of community. It's like the fellow, I can't remember if I shared this in here. I may or may not have, but in a recent forum, there was the fellow in the back of the room who said, Rick, I really struggle with the resurrection. Not sure I believe in the resurrection. Well, I just thought it was one of the most wonderful moments in my ministry. Here's this crowd of people, And here's this fellow in the back of the room saying, and the resurrection means everything to me. It's undergirds my life and faith. It is the core of our faith experience as Christians. It means everything to me. But what meant more to me in that moment was that he felt safe to say that. He felt safe. He found a place where he could say, I'm not sure what I believe. I'm struggling with that. Is this a place where I can come and belong and be in conversation and learn more about what I could believe? Where God could meet me and perhaps invite me into a whole new place of being and transform my life? That's what I'm looking for, see? Isn't that wonderful? To think that that's the kind of community we have? Oftentimes what's really funny, folks, is that, and I'll share this with you, I talk about a lot of this stuff with clergy right now around the diocese, trying to help folks revitalize their parishes. And after I finish talking like this, almost without exception, a priest will say to me, I thought you were a conservative. This is not about conservative or liberal. This is about being a disciple of Jesus Christ. What I'm suggesting to you in terms of inviting a safe place where the stranger and many others that maybe don't look or talk like you or believe the way you do, to create a kind of place where they can come in and join a conversation, where God could perhaps begin to speak something new into his or her life. To do that kind of work I don't compromise anything, I believe, in doing that. I don't have to compromise anything in my life. God's calling us to learn how to be Christians in the world at every turn. And it's less about what you have to say about what you think everybody else should believe. It's more about how they feel in your presence. It's more about that, I would call it that hospitality of God's love. It's the hospitality of God's love in that moment. That's what we're trying to communicate. That's what Jesus communicated at every turn, was this extraordinary hospitality of God's love. He didn't say you had to be able to say the creed a certain way or believe this way or believe that way. He just held people. And eventually he held them in a way that eventually they wanted to hear more about his life and his love and what it could do for them. That's our job, is to get people. Our job is simply to get people closer to Jesus. My job is to get people, and your job as disciples of Christ are to model something in the world, to witness to something, to welcome people in a way that invites them to come close. Come on up, come closer. It's his life that'll change your life, not my opinions. His life will change your life. It's the hospitality of God's love, by the way. The hospitality of God's love will not guarantee a certain result. Not everybody will respond the way you want them to respond. And by the way, the hospitality of this particular love, it's equally as concerned about the people that rub you the wrong way, the people who you find difficult and abrasive, or that you disagree with. The hospitality of this love is about being able to value them as much as you value the people that make you comfortable and that are easy to love. When you're in Jesus, you're just as comfortable over here. That's where the opportunity for transformation is, right there, by the way. Hospitality of God's love. There's no guarantee that we're going to get a specific result. There's just the promise that when you begin to live this welcoming spirit out onto the world, that God can be at work in that God can do a great work, that God really can change lives. And God can give you a sense of peace. See, at the end of the day, it's not about changing everybody else around you or getting the result you think you want. At the end of the day, it's about being able to stay true to yourself, true to your God, and in that work, you find your peace. That's where your peace comes from. So I pray that all of us find this welcoming spirit, that we become disciples of Christ in a most meaningful way in the coming weeks and months, and that God finds ways to bring a lot of new people into our midst in a place where transformation is taking place every day. And you and I are part of that process. God bless us in that work, and in that journey. Amen.